welcome everyone at home too. My name is Stephanie. We're going to start some Pilates this morning. We're going to do a basic gentle class. And we're going to do a lot of breath work to start with, I think. Really work on our lungs. We normally roll out our feet, but go ahead and do that for a second. But we're actually going to start seated today, just kind of massaging the feet. And I do have a sinus infection still. I'm getting over it, but no major cough or fever. So I just wanted to remind you all of that I am a little gruff with allergies, but it's all getting better. The rain is helping, right? So, and I have mold and everything. But I am bearing with it. So let's just start massaging out the feet. So hopefully folks at home can see me too. So I like to roll out the feet with a tennis ball as we get started, just because the feet are always in shoes. They're not getting moved around a lot. And the feet need to free up movement too. Helps free up movement in the rest of our body. So if you have a tennis ball, feel free to roll front to back, side to side on it with as much weight on it as you can stand. Otherwise, just really kind of try to get pressure all over the feet. Really massage. Experiment a little different way to do it today. Plus, everybody's stressed out with the coronavirus threat, right? So, figured some self-massage is never a bad thing. It's always good, a little self-care. So, and then still working on that one foot, really take the toes and start spreading them wide. And just kind of create some space between the toes. Give them a little stretch. Make sure you get each one, maybe a little front to back, separating them out. Get the toes moving. Oh, it really feels good between some of them. So just noticing that. And then take the fingers, put your fingers right in between the toes. So it's kind of like threading them in there. And I'm just kind of pushing down between the toes, a little pressure. It's kind of hard to do. Again, just creating space, creating a little movement, freeing up some tissues. And then just spread the toes wide and think of pulling them towards you as much as you can stand. It might be painful, right? And then do the same the opposite way, pulling them away. And then let's do that with the whole foot a little bit. So I'm just going to pull it towards me, maybe creating a little stretch through the calf. You can keep the toes moving the same direction if you can. And I'm just going to push away, maybe even stretch through the top of the foot. Yeah. Hopefully that feels kind of good. Then scribe some circles. Get that ankle moving. And then let's switch feet. So whichever foot you did, it doesn't matter. And so again, we're going to start with the toes. Spread each one apart from its neighbor. How's it feeling, by the way? All right. Different. Feels good. Yep. I haven't seen the new Tom Hanks yet. Oh, really? Ah. Yeah, so the Mr. Rogers movie isn't so much Mr. Rogers. Oh, yeah, cool. The life story more of the. Yeah. So then take your fingers and push down again. Yeah, right. Sometimes expectations aren't what you get. So keep massaging out those toes. Let's see, we pulled them apart and towards us. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I don't remember that so much as Mr. Rogers, I remember. Reminiscing. And then push the toes away. Cartoons are completely different today. Oh, and I forgot to rub out this foot, so when you're done with the stretching, rub out real quick. Really get in there as much as you can stand it. Move the tissues of the foot around. There's a lot of muscles and bones in the foot, ankle that we're really trying to free up. Yeah, and then make sure to do the pull the foot towards you, stretch out the Achilles tendon and the back of the ankle. Maybe even feel some in the calf a little bit. Yeah, more on this foot. And then push away. Maybe really try to grip the foot. Oh, I got some toes popping. Maybe somebody else got some toes popping. Then scribe some circles, both directions. I saw that too. Quarantine time. All right, so we're going to come lying on our backs now, and we're going to practice Pilates breath. So, lying here on your back, we're going to learn how to gauge the transversus abdominis. So that's our deepest abdominal muscle. It starts here at the base of the spine, wraps all the way around, kind of like a corset. And so we want to keep that muscle engaged all throughout our Pilates practice. To start that, we're going to start with the lower abdomen. So it's right here between the pubic bone and the ASIS bony hip bones. You want to think of, if you had your first finger and your thumb there, that you were drawing those fingers apart. So you're widening out. It's like you're pulling your sit bones, your hip bones apart by activating that transversus abdominal muscle. The navel's coming in and up towards the spine, and then it's an inward, upward energy as you wrap that around. It's a little bit of a hollowing out of the belly. Ribs draw down and together. And then your belly can't expand as you breathe, right? So it's a lateral breath up into the rib cage. So you're here, you're breathing. You've got the abdominals engaged. You can even take your fingers, put your fingers together right at your lower ribs, thumbs on each side of the body. As you breathe in, your fingers should separate as your lungs expand and then draw back together. So just breathe for a few rounds here and just feel the lungs. Feel them expand to the side body, the back body. Just breathing. So that's a Pilates breath or a lateral breath. Uh-oh, it's already causing a cramp. Yeah, breathing through that. Take a break from it if you need to. So really try to get as much expansion as you can. So feel your ribs into the mat underneath you. Feel them expanding. breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, or just breathing through the nose. And notice, so this breath can really increase your lung capacity. So keep going, keep breathing. And it's really important right now, right, with these viruses going around. Yeah, keeping those lungs working is very important. And so you have intercostal muscles all between the rib cage, and they're a primary breathing muscle along with your diaphragm. So we're really giving those muscles a workout. So it's no joke, just doing the breath. And like I said, keep that going throughout your practice. We're going to now take our hands down to our sides. And we're going to keep the abdominal engagement throughout, like I said. And we're just going to start rocking the pelvis forward and back. And so if your pelvis was a bowl, you're going to imagine tipping that away from you and towards you. So you'll feel your low back arch away from the mat as you tip your pelvis away from you, and the tailbone drops down. Tip your pelvis back towards your face. Your navel comes to the spine. Your back body flattens out against the mat. And then just keep moving forward and back. Now notice your range of motion's reduced because of that abdominal engagement. That's great. That is fine. So just keep moving. Just trying to loosen up the pelvis here and the hips. And we're also learning about neutral pelvis. So neutral is kind of in between the two, when the pubic bone and bony hip bones are level with the mat. So just kind of explore that movement. Notice which way feels better to you or which way comes more naturally. Just noticing. And then meet back in the center. You can even have your hands down on your hips. And let's go side to side this time. So we start out pretty neutral, level with the mat. And without moving the legs, without really firing the butt to do the movement, we're going to use the core and the pelvic floor muscles to lower one hip down and then the other towards the mat. And it's a small movement. Again, just freeing up the pelvis. Notice my knees aren't really moving around. The rest of my body's not moving. It's very subtle, just with the hips. And then if you want to go around in a circle, you could do that each direction. Just rolling the pelvis one way and then the other. And then coming back to the center. Neutral pelvis, neutral spine. We're going to keep that spine and pelvis neutral. We're going to send the hands up to the ceiling, palms facing together. We're going to keep the elbows straight, and we're just going to slide the shoulder blades along the rib cage to take the arms up to the ceiling and then ground the shoulder blades back down. So a tiny movement just here in the shoulder. We're keeping the ribs drawing together and the elbows straight to get more movement just there in the shoulder joint. And then we're going to inhale, take the arms down to the hips. Exhale, take them up and overhead, but only as far overhead as you can take them without the ribs joining in the party here. So the ribs stay down and drawn together. The spine stays neutral. No arching like that. So just moving with your breath, inhaling the arms down, exhaling the arms overhead. And when you go overhead, feel that oppositional energy from the shoulder blade drawing down the back, fingertips drawing away. And notice how the shoulders are feeling. We're going to start some circles. So as the arms come down, send them then out, up, and around. So arm circles will go one direction 5 times or so. Again, keep the rib cage drawing down. Just getting the shoulder joint itself moving. And then reverse the circles, take the arms up and overhead, circle them out wide, draw them back down to the hips. So we're going to keep this class nice and beginner friendly today. So if you've never done Pilates before, that's great, it's perfect. Easy movements for anybody. But do listen to your body. Notice how it's feeling. If this doesn't feel good to one shoulder, don't do the movement. So pausing with the arms back up to the ceiling. Check back in, re-engage the core if you need to. We're going to lift just the head a moment, but we're going to keep the arms up to the ceiling just for that extra work. So taking a deep inhale to prepare, and then exhale, lift the head, look between the knees, and then exhale, set the head back down. Lifting the head, moving with your breath, and then lowering. Maybe inhaling up, exhaling down, maybe the opposite. And think of initiating that movement from the core and the back body. So it's almost the back body is engaging, the armpit muscles, the lats, all of those things are helping to lift the head, but try to give the neck muscles a break. Use the abs. So now we're going to get the arms going with the movement. Take a deep inhale, and then as you exhale, we're going to curl up. The hands are going to come forward to hover right at the hips. And you're going to look towards your navel or down between your knees, towards your pelvis. And then we're going to inhale, lower back down. Exhale, curl it up. So move with your breath. Think of originating the movement from the core. Think of hollowing out the belly. Think of that as being east to west or side to side. Check in with your neck and jaw. Make sure they're relaxed. And maybe curl up and hold. Look down towards the pelvis and breathe. How's it feeling? Checking in on your next inhale, roll it back down. Nice. Lower the arms down. Check in with the head, neck. So if you build tension in your neck or your shoulders, you can take a moment to scribe circles or figure eights with your nose on the ceiling. So just loosening up the neck, the jaw. And then we're going to check back in with the lower extremities, and we're going to start some movements, initiating again from the core, trying not to fire the major muscles like the butt muscles, the quads, and the front of the thighs. So try to initiate from the core, maybe from the front of the hip here. We're going to start with the right leg. We're going to float it up to tabletop or 90 degrees. And you're going to lower and lift that leg. So the head's staying down. And you're going to keep that leg at that 90 degrees as you lower it towards the floor and down. So make sure you're not changing the angle and bringing the foot in towards the butt as you lower down. Keep it out there. And check in. We're going to try to keep the pelvis square as we do that. Small movement so you're stable through the core. Check in with your low back. You can imprint if your low back is starting to hurt with your low back towards the mat. Otherwise, try to keep neutral spine, neutral pelvis, which might be a slight distance between your spine and the mat. So just check in with how your body's feeling. And then lower that leg down. We're going to switch to the left leg. So left leg comes up, that 90-degree bend. We're going to lower and lift. The foot can just be nice and relaxed. The core is initiating the movement. Again, not letting that leg get closer as it comes down. But if that 90-degree again hurts the back, you can bring it in a little closer to the chest as it lifts. So check in, notice how it's feeling. And then lower that leg down. Take a break and send the knees to each side if you need to. Little windshield wiper action. How y'all feeling over there? Thumbs up. All right, both legs. So recheck in with the core. Draw the hip bones apart to engage the lower transversus. Feel that inward, upward energy. Feel the back body engage. We're going to float the right leg up and then the left. Hold that tabletop. We're going to alternate toe dips this time. So again, foot's just relaxed. Maybe scribe some circles before we get going, just holding the feet up. And then we'll lower right leg and then left. Yeah, so if your back is not against the mat, that's okay. But if you're arching and your back's way up off the mat, really try to engage the core deeper, maybe make the movements smaller. So you're not looking to necessarily get the foot to the floor. You're just looking to find that amount of movement where you find the work for your body. Ideally, everything stays neutral, the spine, the pelvis, but kind of check in. If you feel like you need to imprint the low back down, do that to protect your back. So it's all up to you, and that amount of core engagement that you're able to hold tells you how far to lower your feet. So if you can keep the ribs drawing down, lower the foot all the way to the mat. If you're wanting to arch the back, smaller movement all the way around. That goes for all of these exercises. All right, and then lower down. Take the feet as wide as your yoga mat this time. And then do that same, both knees to one direction, and then the other. Feel a nice stretch through the low back. Take a break each side. And then check back in. Let's do another breathing exercise. Let's move into the hundreds. So the hundreds is a breathing, an inhale for a count of 5, and an exhale for a count of 5 breathing type exercise. So it's going to be in this chest lift position where we have the hands out hovering over the hips. The arms are going to be pumping, but the spine is going to stay stable. The body is staying stable. It's just a strong movement in the arms, and it's really reaching out. You can keep the knees down, or you can lift to that tabletop. If you want to advance from there, the legs are up 60 degrees or all the way stretched out. So legs can go where you want them. People here are already breathing. So as you inhale, come all the way up, take a breath, and then we'll inhale for a count of 5 and exhale for a count of 5. No matter where your legs are at, you're looking down towards your navel. You're still pumping the arms. You can have a percussive breath or just a long, deep breath. So keep breathing. Keep hollowing out the belly. Think of hollowing out left to right. Keep going. Few more breaths here. Think of relaxing those feet and ankles, relaxing the jaw. Oh my goodness, keep going. And carefully lower down. Hug the knees in or rock them side to side. Nice job. All right, let me roll around, see if you can see me. I can see folks here better this way. All right. So checking in, you've done a windshield wiper maybe, whatever you needed. Check in with the jaw and the neck. Maybe scribe your circles with your nose. on the ceiling. And then we're going to move into a double leg lower lift. So the arms are just out long by the hips. Re-engage through the core. We're going to bring our legs one at a time up to tabletop. Squeeze the knees together. Here, if you've done Pilates, if you need more work, lengthen the legs out straight. Otherwise, we're going to have the knees bent. Squeeze the knees together. Same thing where we're lowering the legs down and raising back up. But here, be very careful to notice if your back arches, draw it back down towards the mat. Make your movements smaller. So just moving with your breath. Lowering, lifting. Imprint the low back if you need to. And then we're going to begin a little bit of lift off the mat. So pushing down through the arms, we're engaging the triceps and the back of the arm. We're going to try to float the lower body up off the mat. Again, you can have your knees bent. You can reach them long. Your choice. So options, they can also be bent here. Yeah, it looks good, ladies. And keep breathing. A couple more times. And then hug the knees in. Nice job. All right. Bring one knee in, one leg long. Let's float up to seated. Let's work on our roll up reps. So we're going to send the feet out in front of us, the hands behind the knees, and reach your elbows out wide so that you're really engaging through the back side of the body, the lats, the underarms. And think of sliding your feet away from you so that your legs have some engagement. Mine are just sliding on this floor, so that's not working for me, but hopefully you can feel what I'm talking about. So navel is drawn in and up, but not just jammed in and up, but think all those same things. Core's engaged. We're going to take a deep inhale, come right up on our sit bones. So really reaching the spine nice and tall through the high ponytail area of the head. As you exhale, we're going to look towards the belly, round the low back down towards the mat. So the back becomes a capital C. So really try to reach your lumbar spine, your lower back down. Keep looking to the navel and keep sending the elbows out wide, and then everybody drop the shoulders away from the ears. Yeah. So the shoulders want to come up. Keep them down. And then head to knees. And then start with the tailbone. Stack it one vertebrae at a time back up to a tall sit. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, start with the pelvis. Round it, tuck it. Take the low back to the floor. Elbows out wide, shoulders check in that they're down. And then again, take a deep inhale. Exhale, head towards the knees, rounding into a smaller ball. Start with the pelvis. Stack the spine up to neutral. Nice. Feeling it today? Yeah. And let's do that a couple more times. We're going to tuck and roll back. And you can go as far here as you can until you really start to feel the core engage. Think of hollowing it out. Feel a little shimmy shake maybe. And then head to the knees. Untuck the pelvis. Stack the spine up straight. Head comes up last. Nice. One more time. Inhaling. Exhale, tucking around. Looking towards the pelvis. And hollowing out left to right. She's working it. And head to knees. Stack the spine up straight. Shake it out. Nice. All right, I'm going to take a break, get a drink. All right, checking back in. So we're going to keep going with that same movement, only we're going to try to go as low, low, low as we can, maybe all the way down to the mat by walking our hands down our legs. So it's going to look like this. We're still stacked up nice and tall. Maybe the legs are out in front of us a little longer. Elbows out wide, shoulders really reaching down the back. Stack up right up on your sit bones so you have a nice straight spine, core's engaged, navel up and under the ribs. Tuck the pelvis under, begin to round the spine, look to the pelvis, walk the hands down the hips or towards the hips. Oh, I'm shaking. Look to the navel, bring your forehead towards your knees, and then stack the spine up one vertebra at a time. Let's do that at least 2 more times. It's so much fun. Round it back, drop the shoulders, send the elbows out, walk it down, look to the belly, head to the knees, roll it back in, stack the spine up straight. This last time we're going to go all the way down and then meet on our backs. So deep inhale, nice straight spine. Exhale, tuck the pelvis under. Look to the pelvis or the belly. It's kind of like you're looking down your shirt as you roll all the way down. Check in at the bottom. We're going to start from here and roll up. And there's absolutely no judgment here on how far we roll up. So it might be a chest lift where we just lift and reach our arms long. And we might be rolling all the way up, but we want to think about using the core for the movement and not momentum. So just go where you can. We're going to inhale, send the arms overhead. As we exhale, the chin drops towards the chest, the sternum drops down. Looking down my shirt or towards my belly, I can use my hands even to walk myself up. Think of rounding up and over a rail or a beach ball. Send the arms forward. Notice my spine is round here. I'm not hinging at the hips. I'm hinging at the ribs. Yeah, and then go ahead and hinge at the hips. Take a little stretch of the hamstrings. Maybe push the big toes away. Send the little toes towards you. And then flex through those ankles. Round the spine again. C curve, navel up and under the ribs. Tuck the pelvis under towards the mat. Reach the heels out long, reach the arms. Keep looking in your shirt. Come down one vertebrae at a time. Sending the arms up and overhead, inhaling. Exhale, look down your shirt. Look to the belly. Walk the hands if you need to. Strong flexing of the feet. Rounding up and over. And then stacking the spine up straight. Nice. Check in. How's it feeling? Finding some work. Shake it out. Good job. And then we like to do a little rolling here. So we're going to roll. Maybe roll like a ball, but you don't have to roll back, right? So you can stay up on your sacrum. You can make it as difficult or as hard as you want to by holding either behind the knees for easier, or a real tight ball makes the movement harder, right? So check in, make it your roll like a ball. But either way, we're looking towards our navel. Nice round, round, round spine. Hold there and just rock slightly front to back. So check in if you have any spinal herniations or anything going on with your back. You may just want to keep the movement here. If your spine's healthy, if it feels good to you, you can inhale back and exhale back up. Again, try to use the core. Try not to just use momentum by keeping the legs right where they're at. So wherever you've chosen to have the legs, they're going to stay that same distance away from your bum As we inhale to shoulder blades, exhale back up. Nice, yeah, if you hear a little thunk of your back, you may try to round even more. But sometimes our spine just isn't there yet. Sometimes it needs to keep working on that rounding. Nice, and sometimes you start rolling in a circle, right? That's when you know your left or right dominant, one side or the other is working harder. Yeah, so take a break, rock the knees. Nice work. All right, let's check in a moment and come down to our bellies. So let me swivel this around. So check in with the low back again. So your feet can be close together or they can be wide. It's up to how your low back feels. So check in. And the first thing is to really draw the pubic bone down to the mat. I don't know if you can see or not, but that really lengthens out my low back. So that'll protect your back. So the forehead comes down to the mat. Arms come out to a T. And shoulder blades are down away from the ears. We're going to inhale, float the arms. Exhale, lower them back down. So the forehead stays down. Navel draws the spine, so you're still working the core. And you're squeezing right between the shoulder blades. So find your rhomboids here. Some of the shoulder blade muscles. And you can work the whole back side of the body by really pushing the feet into the mat. So feel how pushing the feet into the mat, tops of the feet, will lift the kneecaps, fires the quads a little bit. More of my body is actively engaged in the movement at that point. And then take the arms Y up to a Y. Check in with the shoulder blades. They're reaching down the back. Same movement. Lifting the fingertips, setting them back down. Pubic bone is still reaching down. You're still finding those rhomboids right between the shoulder blades. You can keep pushing the tops of your feet down. Then bend the elbows, send the hands under the shoulders. Push back, find a child's pose. So check in with the shoulders here. You can send the hips side to side. Relax the low back. Yeah, check in with your body. Honor how your body's feeling here. Check in with your low back. Honor that for the next movement. So we're going to come back to the same position, only now hands are in a diamond shape right under your forehead. So the elbows are bent out wide. Hands are under the forehead. Pubic bone is still drawing down to the mat. Navel is to spine. The ribs are still drawing down. The forearms are going to try to pull the mat away from you, pushing it away. So that helps to activate the back side of the body, the armpit muscles. And then forehead comes down, reaching long through the high ponytail area of the head. So the head and neck are long. The tops of the feet are pushing down. They can be wide if they need to be or close together. And we're going to lift just looking to the edge of our mat and lower. So check in with your shoulders. I noticed mine were wanting to drift up towards my ears. So just keeping them down, lowering and lifting. Activating through the whole back side of the body. So keep pushing down through the feet. If you want to advance the movement, take the hands with you. As you inhale to lift, find that back extension. Head, neck, and shoulders coming up and lowering. keep moving with the breath. And then lower back down, find your child's pose. Man, how's it feeling? So keep checking in with the body. Keep checking in. Massage out the low back a little bit if you need to. Hopefully it feels good. Nice. Good work. All right. So let's spend a few more moments here. Let's do some side work, lying on our sides. So we're going to have our legs out long and angled away from us. I might be laying on my thing here. We'll see how this works. So lay down and just relax your head on your arm. Your feet are angled up and away to give you a little bit of help balancing. Your top arm can come out in front of you and help with stability, or it can rest up on your legs. So either way, and then really check in here, re-engage the core. Feel like you're lifting your lower ribs up off the mat. And then lift that top leg, hip height. Reach it as long as you can. So just keep thinking, sending it away, away, away. We're going to send it forward and then pulse it back. And we're trying to keep our hips and our upper body stable here. So if you feel your upper body begin to start wobbling front to back, really stabilize through the core more, and maybe make your movement smaller. So notice I'm keeping my movements nice and small so that they're controlled. If you have the flexibility and the control, feel free to make them bigger. And then check back in, reach that top leg long again, hover it at hip height. We're going to raise it up and down. So externally rotate that hip so you're opening it out, and raise and lower. Again, check in, navel to spine, bottom rib lifting. The body's not rocking. So if it starts to rocking, again, make the movement smaller. You can point up, flex the ankle down. How's everybody doing? Keep breathing. Maybe one more. Nice. Hover that foot up. Level off the top of the foot so that it's parallel with the mat. So a nice flexed ankle. We're going to bring that bottom leg up to meet it. A few times there. Again, navel to spine. Keep reaching the legs away from you. And if you're still with me, maybe a little squeeze of the legs together, lower lift. One more time. Moving with the breath. And relax it out. Pat out the hip if you need to. Good work. Oh, you ladies just worked it in the last class too. Oh no. All right, we're going to roll over. Other side. How's that hip feeling? They're hurting. I've come loose. There we go. All right. Nah, keep them long. Keep both legs long for this round. So, bottom arm can be bent though or out long. So, find your position. The feet are angled out in front of you. Looks great. for the ladies here in class. Now I'll check in. I didn't mention it last time, but hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. So you want to make sure they're nice and stacked and you're not, the tendency is to roll away that top hip. So just checking in, navel to spine, bottom ribs lifting up off the mat. Stretch that top leg out long, and then even longer, really reach it away from you. And then we're going to pulse it forward and back. So again, check in. There's no rocking in the upper body. The upper body is absolutely still. So make the movement as small as you need to achieve that. Forward, 2 pulses back. Keep breathing. Keep going with that navel to spine. Looks good. Everybody knows I'm not good at counting, so we just keep moving. And now we're going to go up and down, so that external rotation of the hip, pointing the toes up, flexing the ankle down. Keep reaching that top leg long though, finding length through the ribs. And you want to just keep looking in the direction of your head, not down towards your feet. Yep, keep going with that navel to spine, bottom rib lifting. Check in now, bear with me. Flex that top ankle, level it off to the ceiling with that foot. We're going to raise and lower that bottom leg. Yep, moving with your breath. Keep pulsing it up and down, just doing your best. We're going to squeeze together, lower lift. Good work. Let's do 3 more or so here. And then bend those knees in, relax it down. Pound it out, massage it if you need to. These ladies are doubling up. They just had another heavy hip class. All right. And then let's roll back up. So we're going to take the body long, roll onto your back. So you can bend one knee into your chest if you need to, or walk the hands, but we're going to send the arms overhead, taking a deep inhale, and then we're going to exhale, curl head, neck, and shoulders, look towards the navel, roll up, think one bone at a time, nice round spine, up and over, and then stretch it out, bend from the waist. Nice job. Shake it out. All right, I like to end often with a little stretching, but we're kind of prop light, but we do still have blocks if you want to use them and clean them afterwards. So if you have a block at home, join us in this. Are you guys comfortable using them? Okay. Yeah, they've been cleaned and sanitized. We'll do that again after. So we've been working the core. We've been focused on keeping it engaged as we breathe laterally, right? So now we just want to let that belly relax. Think of relaxing through the pelvic floor. Deep breaths, right? We're going to come down, do a little bridging, and then end in a bridge relaxation to just let the muscles completely relax. So let's do a little articulating of the spine first. So into that bridge position on your back, hands down by the hips. One last little bit of core work. So do engage the core, draw the ribs down. We're going to start with those pelvic curls that we did, taking the low back down to the mat and then arching it away by rolling that pelvis forward and back. And then as you take an exhale, we're going to roll the pelvis back, tucking the pelvis. We're going to lift hips, low back, mid back, upper back. So articulating, moving one vertebrae at a time, taking a deep inhale to stretch the knees away at the top. Notice my ribs are staying down. I'm not flaring up into my highest bridge. I'm just keeping a nice long line from forehead down to knees. And then I'm going to lower by dropping my sternum down, bringing upper back, mid back, low back down to the mat. Maybe tip the pelvis away, and then I'm going to rock it back towards me. Roll back up, one vertebrae at a time. Still drawing the ribs together in one long line. Exhale, drop the sternum and upper back, then mid back, then low back. Rolling through your bridge, so do that one more time. Getting the spine moving. Yeah, notice here the focus is completely different than what we do a lot of times in yoga. The focus here is getting the spine really moving, one bone at a time. Getting as much movement through all those spinal joints as we can. So then, shake it out a little bit. Windshield wiper if you need to. Check back in. We are completely letting the pelvis and the abs go now. So just letting them go. We're going to find our block. So if you have a block at home or just anything, it can even be a blanket, something to get the hips into that elevated bridge position. And we want it just above the tailbone. So you don't want it resting right on the tailbone, that'll hurt. But we still want the pubic bone higher than the hip bones. So this is higher than this. Everything is angling down towards your head. And then begin to soften. So check in now. Begin to bring your awareness back to the breath. But allow the belly to expand as you inhale. As you exhale, first think of dropping the sternum. So feel the sternum and the upper back melt deeper into the mat. Feel the rib cage connect with the mat. Feel the low back start to melt to the mat, even though the block has it lifting away. So this is really a stretch for the top of the hips, the iliacus, right here at your hip bones to your pubic bone, and then your psoas, which is either side of your navel, the ribs down to pubic bone. So all through here, we're just getting a nice, easy stretch. So deep breaths. Feel the belly expand, like I said. Allow it to relax. Allow the pelvic floor to just relax. So think of the sit bones drawing apart, the hip bones drawing apart, and breathing. So we're working on releasing the myofascial tissue here. So we're really looking to find the deeper releases of the tissues. So you want to hold these for a maximum of 10 minutes, but a minimum of 5. So if you're at home and just want to do some good release work, this is a really good one. Stay in it as long as you feel comfortable and your tailbone feels safe. So sometimes something softer on the tailbone is good. Yep, feel the hip bones lengthening up and away from the pelvis. Your low back now beginning to melt towards the mat. One more minute here. So breathing. I'm a firm believer that these releases are as important for freeing up movement in the body as is the core work, the rest of the movement. So I like to give a nice mix of both. It's like a little bit of savasana for your Pilates class, right? So before we begin to take the block away, we're going to move as slowly and as easily as we can, meaning trying not to activate any muscles that we don't need to move the block. So I'm going to bring my hands to the block, and I'm just going to use my arms to kind of push the block away gently, allowing my back to just melt down to the mat. I'm going to maybe do some rocking side to side with the knees. Just kind of checking in with your body here. And just roll to the side and use your arms to push up. Nice, good work. So just allow your belly now to just stay relaxed, but now you know where to connect and find that support when you need it to activate through the transversus. So thank you all for joining me online. Thanks for being here in person. It's great to have you. Enjoy the rest of your day.